Okay, I was gonna do a video, but I'm just gonna do a live stream instead because I'm sick of looking at all this. I'm sick of looking at everything. I kind of want to just update on some stuff that I've noticed over the past few days. As far as free BAM goes, if BAM's not participating in the documentary, doesn't want anything to do with it, well then, I wish I would have known that prior to interviewing with Hot Snakes. Had I known BAM was not participating, I certainly would not have gone on and under the direction to speak about the free BAM movement. Um, However, I was told on good authority that BJ had already interviewed. So, um, you know, I, I I didn't know what I didn't know. But yeah, so I apologize to um I apologize to Bam if this documentary is something he wishes was not happening. And if that is the case, if it's not going to be good for him or for the side of autonomy, well then I I was very duped by the producers. Because while the interview conditions were horrific, um, I did think the questions and the sort of context in which they approached me was legitimate. They asked me to talk about the Free Dahlia movement, and what I said to them is, well, I can't talk about Free Dahlia because Dahlia has not asked to be free. I said, Jamie has spoken to Dahlia. I have not spoken to Dahlia. I have not spoken to Bam. I've not, I said, I can talk about the Bam and Dahlia movement. That was something that I had going for a while and that involved Discord, and that, I'm really kind of focusing on parental rights now. And I think I see a lot of similarities in what Bam's going through as to what Britney Spears went through, and, just how important it is for children to have a relationship with both parents, regardless of pretty much anything. I mean, I think even if a parent's in jail for murder, they should have the child should have an opportunity to know that parent. Um, that's just my opinion. Yours may vary. When a child gets to a certain age, they can certainly choose not to see a parent, as both of mine have. But um, I just think young children should not be caught up in people's divorce situations. Um, I was 19 by the time my parents finally got divorced. I was 14 when they separated, but I have three younger siblings, or I had three younger siblings. The youngest has passed away, but it was really, really, really hard on them because I was like already in high school, and that was hard enough, but like just having to like it's just it was bad. And Bam only has one child, and it doesn't look like his current wife is the childbearing kind. I'm just gonna say she doesn't seem like the mom type. So this might be his only chance to have any children, and I just would hate to see him or his son, more importantly, lose out a relationship the way Brittany's sons lost a relationship with her. Yeah. So that's kind of nuts and bolts of what I said about Free Bam. And they asked me if Lima was the devil, and I said no, I don't think any one person's the devil. I said, but all I've seen Lima do is diabolical things. And speaking of which, when we bring into the Discord thing, if one or more members of one or more Discords were posing as BJ supporters and in fact in contact with Lima at any point during those court hearings, much less signing declarations on Lima's behalf, well, I mean, that's about as snaky as it gets. So, yeah, I mean, I have not had any contact with Hot Six Media since I left their Airbnb where they interviewed me on the evening of June 19th. Um Somebody sent me a copy of whatever I signed, which was, I signed it under duress. I didn't even open up the email. I just filed it away. I just archived it. I didn't even open it. I didn't even click on it because I'm not even going to click on that. I mean, it was so those release forms or everything was just so one-sided. And yeah, I told them they can use any of my videos, I don't care if they use my videos, and I certainly don't care if they use my interview. But it was a horrific experience. It was really bad. Um, and so I don't know, I noticed like cover art for a new song BJ has coming out, and it had like feet, it had like close up of feet in it, and I was just like, wait, what now? This is like totally getting creepy. The whole foot thing is just getting creepy. So that's kind of why I did that poll earlier, and it looks like most people don't think it's anything. The foot thing with hot snakes is nothing to do with Dan Snyder. Most people don't think it's anything to do with Bam calling his feet his money makers, and most people don't think it's anything to do with general foot fetish. Most people say it's something, nothing, who cares, whatever. So yeah, there were like 22 votes in the poll last time I checked, and it was 55% the last option. So I think there was a couple votes for pretty much all the other answers. And yeah, I mean, I see Bully Buster R Us, aka Beware of Bonnie Dwyer, is posting some, audio files that have, somebody's been sitting on for like 7.5, close to 8 months. That would have been helpful if you shared all that information with someone back in November. But at that time, y'all were just hating on BJ. So now you want to be like, oh, look, see, this is what I mean, like, it's just it's insidious. And Bully Buster, just a few minutes ago, was like trying to say, well, Brennan never interviewed with them. I'm like that's just a budget. That doesn't say anything. That's just, it's like, lady, listen, somebody sent me that unsolicited, and they cut it off in certain places, so we can't see if Jamie's name might have been on there somewhere else. Could have been Jamie sending it. It could have been one of the producers that I met with. I don't know who sent it to me. It could have been a former friend of Brennan that maybe Brennan showed it to them and whatever. So I mean, I have no idea. I have no idea who's who unless they show their faces. And yeah, that brings me to Nola Lola. So Nola Lola is now going by her government name and showing her face. And it's a beautiful face. It's a lovely face. I mean, it definitely doesn't look like how I imagined she would look based on her voice and the way she acts, but it's a lovely face. I mean, in fact, it almost looks like it could be the twin sister of MJ Brennan, to be honest. That, like, sort of the pupils in the eyes and the coloring and the blonde hair and everything is the same, and they both kind of have that like MJ Ultra, MK Ultra kind of look. So, but she's calling herself an independent journalist now. So she's a retired RN. It looks like she's now based out of San Antonio, if I read things correctly. And that whole Sacred Heart thing, I was thinking that was like that Spidey Sense, aka Nola Papa, was trying to say that Lori went to Sacred Heart for high school because that's what she and I were talking about. But no, that was, I guess, the name of a place where she worked when she was an RN. So I had no idea about that. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy for her that she has a new career as a independent journalist. That sounds quite exciting. And yeah, I look forward to seeing what she kind of puts out, because like I've said before, like, she's a smart lady, the way she was saying, oh, Steph, thank you for putting this all into words because our words get all garbled. It's like, no, your words are pretty clear. When you're passionate about something, your words are pretty clear. And you know, when you were pissed at me, your words are pretty clear. Um, so yeah, I mean, you know, uh, Flambeau Rambo, go for it. Get even bigger than Rabbit, get even bigger than Steph, get even bigger than BJ, like, get your voice out there. I'm here for it. I think that's a wonderful thing. Um, Never gonna send you a penny of money for it, but again, but if the end result of this is you got a brand new career that you're gonna be passionate about, well, then all's well that ends well. It does beg the question, though, is are other people being approached and or agreeing to cooperate with Hot Snakes, since BJ and Rabbit and Bam have been so outspokenly against this docu-series? Have people decided, all right, well, if they're not going to cooperate, then we'll just get in on the game ourselves? I mean, I don't know. Questions ain't defamation. It's just a question. It's just a theory. I actually just thought of it as I was talking. So yeah, I don't feel like there's anything really more for me to say. I don't see any questions in the chat so far. In fact, there might not even be anybody watching. Oh, there's 4 watching now, but I don't see any questions in the chat. So I will give it a few more minutes in case anyone wants to ask a question. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have any more to say on this. I look forward to seeing what happens from here. I am going to be focusing on parental alienation and abolishing psychiatry from this point forward. And while there is some intersection with free BAM on both of those things, as far as I can tell, BAM is free, like there's no more conservatorship. And so I feel there are other pressing issues for me to talk about. Now, BJ did post something about there being no free Dahlia movement, and even if there is, she's not a part of it. Well, I did see that back on July 23rd of last year, of 2023, when BJ was starting to post the body cam footage, she did do the hashtag free Dahlia in the sort of on Twitter for her promotion of that. Now, that's not to say that ever took off the way the free BAM movement did. But I mean, on June 23rd, BJ at least once posted the hashtag free Dahlia. Looks like Iron Shield Maiden posted it several times. And Jamie must have taken that and ran with it and approached BJ with this whole freedahlia.net thing on August 3rd of last year. So a week, a couple weeks later. And so, yeah, I mean, I can see where BJ would have been completely freaked out by Jamie. I can also see where if Jamie was following BJ on Twitter and saw the body cam footage and saw the hashtag free Dahlia, Jamie might have actually thought that website would be something useful for BJ to have. So, I can see why BJ is distancing herself from anything to do with Dahlia at this point, because Dahlia also signed a complete travesty of a declaration, allegedly, if that really was her signature. And so, Dahlia is essentially in the same bucket right now as Jamie and Brennan and, whoever else, Brian Kuchar, Shannonography, all the other people who said they were going to be witnesses for Lima. Like, there's no coming back from that. There's no coming back for that. There's no, I mean, that's all that is still to be litigated. Even though BJ won, the issue of perjury is still to be litigated. So yeah, no. I mean, Jamie can send all the emails she wants now, and people can release all these recordings now and all this stuff now. But, there's no going back in time to make the last 8 months not have happened. There's no going back in time to, unbill all the lawyer hours that were wasted. And the federal case is still not yet decided. At least I haven't seen anything as of end of day today on the East Coast that it has been decided. I know it was decided on a Friday in early August last year, so maybe it'll be kind of similar timing this year. But yeah, I mean, I might talk about that case when and if it's decided, or when and if it, gets past the motion to dismiss, which I doubt that it will, but I don't understand why things take a year to get through the motion to dismiss stage. It's crazy. But that's the court system for you. That's the court industrial complex for you. And again, I appreciate the 4 people watching. I don't see any chat questions or anything else. So I'm gonna leave it right there. And the comments are still turned off because I just don't want to get, if people want to reach me, they have my email. You can reach me at bamandalia@gmail.com. That's BAMANDAHLIA@gmail.com. And I just wish everyone peace and safety and harmony. And like for the very last time, I did not engage in any of this to make friends. I certainly did not engage in any of it to get credit for anything. I engaged in it because as a certified mental health peer support specialist, I am extremely vested in the idea of, not the idea, in the human right of individual autonomy. And I am extremely uh vigilant to the point of, you know, to the point of being a lone wolf when it comes to fighting perpetrators who deprive other individuals of their autonomy. So if you're someone who owns the right to someone else, trust me when I tell you, slavery was abolished, psychiatry will be abolished as well. Because without psychiatry, the only people that are conserved are people that are, you know, too physically unable to take care of their affairs. No one has the right to determine whether someone is quote unquote mentally able to take care of their affairs. And then to make money off of that person while that person is deemed incapable of taking care of their own affairs, but to handle that person's money all the time. So that's the other thing I'd love to hear. I mean, little drips and drabs are coming out about Jamie's history as an actress. Was she really ever conserved, or was that just some sort of persona she took on for the for the Free Britney and Free Bam and Free Dahlia movements, which, again, it's debatable whether there ever was a Free Dahlia movement. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate the 6 people watching. Still don't see any questions. Been on for 18 minutes. I mean, I'll stay on for like another couple, but if there's no questions, then I've got a real life to live, and it's gotten really good over the last couple of days in my real life. So making enemies online just frees me up to make amazing connections, like with real people, like in my neighborhood, in my part of the world. And unfortunately, my part of the world has not really been New Orleans since I was 17 years old. Yes, I did move back there for 6 years in my late 30s, early 40s. That turned out to be disastrous for me and my children. And so, you know, my kids are my kids are massholes. So I've never been a masshole, never will be a masshole. In fact, I met this new friend the other night at one of the very only bars in all of New England that is friendly to New Orleans Saints fans. Cause like a lot of people, I can just remember, just always being put down for being a Saints fan. But this particular bar, was very involved in the, historic Super Bowl XLIV. That would be 44 for those who don't do Roman numerals. Super Bowl 44 in February 2010, which was one of the, I mean, like, yeah, like one of the 3 happiest days of my life. Day my daughter was born, day my son was born, and Super Bowl 44, which I got to experience in New Orleans with my sister who was still alive then and my son who was still with me then. So those are memories that I will treasure forever. And those are the kind of things that are happening with Bam not being able to celebrate those with his son. I mean, is Bam an Eagles fan? Like, haven't the Eagles won the Super Bowl like recently in the last few years since he's been like separated from his son? I don't know. Like, it's just wrong that the kids out in California. Why? Is that where Nikki's from? I mean, it's wrong. It's wrong that Bam's family is siding with Nikki over Bam. It's just wrong that they've leached off of him. All of them have leached off of him for all this time. And it's got to stop. And I hope that maybe by being married, maybe he's got like an airtight prenup with this girl. If so, amazing. Maybe he's already gotten his money away from Phil. If so, amazing. If those are the things that made him decide, screw it, I'll just plead guilty to two lesser charges and take the 6 months probation because I know I can do it at this point, then that's the type of autonomous adult human decisions we make as a trade-off of sort of like relinquishing something for something better in return. And so if he was just sick of having to show up in court and having to deal with whether he'd have to face his mother, if this was the way he could like walk away and never have to see his mother again, God bless him. Like I salute him. I salute him as far as I can, at the highest level of any salute I've ever saluted anyone, because um I've been trying to reconnect with my mother over the last few days as well. And it's really, really hard. It's really hard after someone has deprived you of your adult rights to then ever trust them again. You know, doesn't mean you don't love them. Doesn't mean they don't love you in their controlling, self-serving way. But it's very hard to reconnect after that type of betrayal and that type of, ongoing lack of support for what's important after everything your family's benefited from when your life and your career and everything was going well, to like try to keep profiting off of you while you're kind of down and out and struggling with something. That's not family. That's not family. That's exploitation. That's TRAFFICKING. So that's about it. Again, don't know why there's no questions, but appreciate the 8 of you for being here. Even if you're 8 haters, I still appreciate you being here and listening to this. But again, I need to move on from this. This is just, it's eaten away almost a year of my life. Not quite a year of my life, but coming right up on a year. More than 11 months of my life has this whole, this whole thing just like consumed me. And it's not healthy. It's not healthy to be, like, it's not healthy to be obsessing over people you don't know. It's not healthy to be getting into arguments with people you have no idea if they're like one account arguing with you and the other account pretending to be your best friend. Like, it's crazy. And so what I will say is this: on any account I've ever created, I have always been consistently pro autonomy for myself and everybody else on the planet. So if you don't like me having a bunch of different accounts, it's probably because there's some part of you that's afraid of me, because there's probably some part of you that is anti-autonomy. There's probably some part of you that identifies as like a social worker or something like that, or a psychiatrist or a licensed mental health counselor, or God forbid, an addiction counselor. Ooh, or like a wannabe conservator, or, a wannabe prosecutor, or whatever people are, like whatever their thing is. You know, I do continue to suffer from complex post-traumatic stress disorder, and it had been in remission from like the end of 2019 all the way through October of 2023. So like nearly 4 years of absolute remission of any symptoms of trauma. Even, I went through my dad's whole death and all of that without any trauma response. And now it's like I have been terrified. I've been terrified since November 12th of 2023, when Jamie and Michelle, not her real name, and Brennan posted my building with a wrecking ball saying save the date to November 25th. And that is no way to live. And I probably also suffer from Stockholm syndrome because that's the only way to explain why I ever would have ever spoken to Jamie again. I think I felt guilt that I thought that I somehow, introduced Jamie to Brennan, who introduced, her to everybody else in Steph's server, and that therefore I was responsible for Jamie. What I didn't realize is Jamie is an actress. She loves being an actress. She loves playing games. She loves painting. She loves music. She loves all the things. She could be, I don't know, I mean, she could be Britney Spears. And if the reason she's not living a more productive, profitable, prosperous life is because she is in some way still under her mother's thumb, whether she's technically under conservatorship or not. If she is still not truly free, either mentally or legally or both, well, then, it would probably be a good thing for her if someone did file criminal charges against her, because that would be a way of getting her free the same way Gypsy Rose Blanchard got free by going to prison. And again, I am living for seeing Gypsy Rose Blanchard's best life. Do I like Ryan? I think he's cute, but he reminds me of, like, I don't know, he reminds me of people in my family that I just kind of don't find that attractive. Okay. Whereas Ken is adorable. Like, he's adorable. Like, he's a much better match for the new Gypsy Rose. I think Ken, and I think it's always nice when people are able to reconnect with an old flame. Do I feel sorry for Ryan? Hell no. He's got like boatloads of women all wanting to hang out with him now. So I think everybody came out ahead in this. I mean, except obviously Dee Dee, but you know, I mean, and Nicholas Godejohn. But no, I just, the whole drama over this and the whole, like, Gypsy's awful, she's manipulative, she's horrible, blah blah blah. She let Nick Godejohn take the fall. Nick Godejohn is the one who did what he did, and even if Nick Godejohn is somewhat, technically disabled or whatever, he was in no kind of a situation. He was free. He was free to travel. Nobody was stopping him from traveling to come and see her. So this man was free to do all this. You cannot say that Gypsy was responsible for someone else's actions, especially when the girl was being forced into a wheelchair and being forced to take all these medications and everything else. And speaking of medications, like, that's another thing. Again, this does not excuse Jamie's behavior, but it might explain it. The list of medications Jamie has told me that she's on, and the way I can tell the difference between how she is at like 4 or 5 in the morning, where she's like focused and up and ready to run the world, and then by like 2 or 3, 4 in the afternoon, she's like has to go to sleep. It's to do with a medication regimen that I'm not sure what kind of doctor is prescribing it for her, but it sounds like to me like it's invalid reasons for medicating someone. It seems like there's some reason for her to be peppy and up, to take care of the animals in the morning, and then she's just too tired to stay up and watch a live stream or a video, and and it's crazy. So if that's all part of her act, because wasn't that one of the Gypsy Rose, um, wasn't there a Hulu series called The Act about Gypsy Rose and her mom? So if Jamie Gilmour and Terry Gilmour are basically like, the Blanchards part 2 or whatever, I mean, that's a whole other docuseries waiting to happen. On that note, bye y'all. Have a happy Friday. Enjoy the rest of your week, your lives, your weekend, all the things. Bye now.